The Slaves' Bead, Destiny Born in the Wild, an African tale of courage, love, and vengeance. Welcome to Afri-Fun Tale, the channel where true African stories are retold in deep, emotional, and spiritual ways. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss the next jaw-dropping part of this powerful story. Grab your heart, open your mind, because what you're about to hear will shake your emotions and touch your soul. Beneath the green stretch of ancient forests, wrapped around by glass-clear rivers, majestic hills, and endless farmlands, sat a forgotten village called Yaku. A place so rich in nature's glory, yet stained by an age-old tradition that bathed in blood and pride. The people of Yaku were farmers by day and warriors by necessity. In those brutal times, if one village grew strong, it would march its warriors into a weaker one, not just for land or food, but for human souls. Yes, they took the able-bodied, tore families apart, and claimed the defeated as slaves. Those who refused to submit either ran or perished. That's how King Shore rose to power, through war, through blood. A man who wore the crown not by inheritance but by conquest. His palace rose like a stubborn mountain in the heart of the village, fierce and fearful to behold. The walls, made of thick red mud, were darkened by years of smoke and secrets. Skulls of long-dead warriors stared coldly from the top edges of the palace, their hollow eyes whispering stories of blood and power. Spears, broken arrows, cowries tied with red threads, and ancient local guns decorated the front wall like trophies of conquest. At the gate, four guards stood like carved statues, two on each side, bareheaded and bald as moon rocks, their skin glistening under the sun like polished black stones. Their faces held no smiles, only the stiffness of warriors who had seen too much. Each one held a long, native Dane gun, old but deadly, as if they had sworn that not even the wind would pass without permission. This was not just a palace, it was the House of Terror, the shrine of a man who ruled with iron, charm, and charm. Anyone who stood before it knew they were standing before something older than fear, something deeper than death. His rule was simple: the warrior who wins the battle shares the spoil, half for him, half for the throne. And so, when Hofu, the kingdom's current warrior, returned from a victorious campaign, King's share of human plunder was many. Among them was a young woman, Lebe, whose beauty could quiet even the thunder. But Lebe wasn't alone. Snatched alongside her was Karmu, her heartthrob. In their own village, they were the kind of lovers that made even elders smile. They sat together each sunset by the riverside mountain, whispering dreams and sharing laughter. Marriage was just around the corner when the dark clouds of war shattered everything. Now, inside King Shore's compound, they lived as mere shadows, Kamu among the male slaves, Lebe among the women. Forced into hard labor, harvesting, ridging, pounding, carrying. Time passed, and then trouble came knocking. Lebe became pregnant. A scandal. A death sentence. For it was taboo for slaves to procreate, especially under the king's roof. Anyone caught, male or female, would be dragged to the god's shrine and beheaded without mercy. Fear wrapped around her like a tight noose. When she told Kamu, his eyes turned red, not with anger, but pain. He reached for a tiny treasure he had always hidden, a bead, worn smooth with years, passed down from his late father. "Take this," he whispered. "Let our child wear it. If anything happens to me, this bead will remind him of where he comes from and what he must become." That night, Lebe vanished. With trembling legs and a heart racing like a drum, she escaped into the shadows, running as if death chased her. She didn't stop until she stood before the forbidden forest, an eerie, dreaded place no one dared enter. But to Lebe, it was the only hope of life. She stepped in. At first, the silence screamed. The branches seemed to whisper warnings. But soon, the forest opened up its arms. Somehow it accepted her. She learned to live like the wild, cooking with firewood, eating herbs and roots, drinking from springs, even sharing food with animals. With time, she could understand their calls, mimic their sounds. They became her companions, her protectors, her family. 9 moons passed, and in the thick of trees and songs of birds, a child was born. She named him Destiny. Just as Camus instructed, she gently placed the bead around his tiny neck. That day, a prophecy silently awoke in the forest. Destiny grew differently. While others ran with children, he ran with monkeys. He mimicked birds, climbed trees with grace, and swam with crocodiles. His only world was the forest and the animals in it. But his mother never stopped watching him with teary joy. He was her hope, her son after a stormy night. On his 7th birthday, Lebe sat him down. "My son," she said gently, "you were born out of pain, but raised in love. You are not just a child of the wild. Your father is alive, a slave in the village of Yaku. Your real name is greater than you know. The bead on your neck carries his soul. And when the right time comes, you must return. Set him free and destroy the chains of slavery." Destiny's heart beat faster than ever. He clenched his fists. "I will. I'll strangle the wicked king with my bare hands if I must. I will tear down the throne of wickedness and let all slaves walk free." His mother smiled weakly. "You look just like your father," she whispered. "Same courage, same fire. When you step out into the world, any man who recognizes that bead, that's your father." Years passed. Destiny became a strong, fearless young man. Lebe grew older, and the years in the forest began to weigh on her bones. Her once steady legs shook, her breath short. Destiny stood by her day and night, grinding herbs, boiling leaves, whispering hope into her ears. Around her, animals gathered, silent, sorrowful. "My son," she whispered on one quiet evening, "you are the brightest light I've ever known. Since your birth, my sorrow turned to songs. You filled my empty nights with laughter. My only wish is that I could see your father again." "Don't say that, mother." "You will not die," Destiny cried, fighting tears. "I won't let the jungle take you." She reached for his hand. "Listen to me," she said, her voice weak but clear. "You must go to Yaku. Find your father. Break the chains. End this evil. As my sun sets, yours is rising. This is your divine assignment. You were not born to serve. You were born to rule." Destiny nodded, tears falling like rain. Lebe smiled softly and took her last breath. The animals wept. Destiny buried her beneath the tallest tree in the heart of the forest, the same forest that had given them shelter when the world turned cruel. Though the world called it evil, to Lebe and Destiny, it was home. Now the stage is set. The fire of vengeance burns in Destiny's heart. Will he find his father? Can he stand against the mighty King Shore? Will the bead lead him to his true identity and his royal destiny? The journey begins. Don't miss part 2, Destiny versus the King Shore. The bead that broke the chains. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay connected. Share this story if it touched you. And drop a comment. What would you do if you were in Destiny's shoes? Until next time on AfriFun Tale, remember, every bead tells a story. Every child carries a legacy. And every chain can be broken.